Today, I'm going to be talking about how well I think Kyle Busch is going to perform at Reddick Racing in 2023 and in the long term. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. We already know at this point, I've talked about it many times on this channel, but Kyle Busch is going to be leaving Joe Gibbs Racing at the end of this year and will be joining Richard Childress Racing to drive the A car next year. He will have Randall Burnett as a crew chief. He's been a long-term working with Tyler Reddick since 2019 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He is going to be his crew chief, and I think that's really going to benefit Kyle Busch on the road courses. Now, when a lot of people looked at this move, they thought this move was going to be a really bad move for Kyle Busch. You look at what Kyle Busch has done at Joe Gibbs Racing. Kyle Busch has been able to go out there and win a lot of races, including 56 wins with Joe Gibbs Racing, including a couple exhibition wins. You could say he's probably had around 60 wins, adding exhibition wins. He has also won a lot of races with Toyota and also won 2 Cup Series championships, an Xfinity Series championship with Joe Gibbs Racing, and also has won a lot of championships as a owner of an organization where he's had drivers come to the ranks like William Byron, Noah Gragson, Bubba Wallace, Eric Jones, Chandler Smith, John Henry Nemechek, you name it. Guys who've been part of that KBM stable are more likely going to be out of KBM because Kyle Busch Motorsports is also going to be moving into Chevy. So KBM is going to have to figure out what they're going to do. And this is also going to long-term affect the Toyota program because Toyota is losing a major development program. So maybe we'll see a team like Venturini Motorsports come up. But then again, you do have Joe Gibbs Racing freeing up their Xfinity Series program because their Xfinity Series program is going to have basically, I think, composed of Sammy Smith, John Hunter, unless he does go up to 2311 Racing. And then, of course, I think they'll have a third car that is going to be an all-star car. So there are going to be some moving pieces that are going to happen. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But getting back to this move, I've seen a lot of people be really skeptical of this move for Kyle Busch because Kyle Busch has not been really good the last 3 years in really good equipment. But I think Kyle Busch has been kind of wanting out of Joe Gibbs Racing. Of course, he did want to return to Joe Gibbs Racing, but there's been times where I feel like Kyle Busch has wanted out. The last 3 years for Kyle Busch at Joe Gibbs Racing were not very good for his standards. Before 2020 and 2019, he won 5 races and went on to win the championship at Homestead and would have been won the championship regardless of any points format. But in 2020, Kyle Busch was horrendous. You can still blame that on the COVID pandemic and also blame that on the lack of practice in qualifying. But he only had 1 win that year, and it took up until Texas, which is the third to last race of the season, to pick up that victory. In 2021, he got 2 victories, but then got it to the round of 8, but did not make the championship for it. Improved with Ben Bayshore, but struggled and also struggled after losing Adam Stevens. And then in 2022, right now he's having one of his worst career seasons in his NASCAR Cup Series career. Yes, he did make the playoffs by winning at Bristol Dirt, but he's not really had a lot of races here where he's been extremely dominant. Sure, he was really fast at National, really fast at Darlington for the Southern 500, but generally really struggled at those races. I think this change of scenery for him will be a benefit for Kyle Busch heading into 2023 and the long-term future. And I know a lot of people are also skeptical as they saw what Brad Keselowski did when he went over to work at RFK, and his performance with RFK has not been that impressive. Here's the big difference, though. When Brad Keselowski went over to RFK Racing in 2022 for this year, Roush was not in a great position. Roush has missed the playoffs for almost the last few years. They have not made the playoffs since 2019 with Ryan Newman, but really they have kind of struggled in the last couple years with that team, and they were a little bit down in 2021. So when Brad went over there, he was already going to be down regardless, and then they got that big penalty. The big difference is Richard Childress Racing is a lot more of a competitive organization. This year in 2022, they've had their winningest season as an organization since 2013. This year so far, they've scored 3 victories, 1 with Austin Dillon and 2 with Tyler Reddick. Now, of course, with Kyle Busch going into the A-car, Reddick will be also still more than likely with the Richard Childress Racing team and a 3rd chartered car. It is unclear that what the number will be and where the charter is coming from. I would indicate it will come from a team like Spire or Colleague. I know someone mentioned Rick Ware Racing, but Rick Ware is more than likely not going to be an option. So it will come from a team like Spire or Colleague Racing for 2023. But getting back to performance level, Tyler Reddick has been really impressive in that A card this year. In fact, I think he's an outside championship threat. He's been one of the few drivers this year that really can keep up with Chase Elliott and even Kyle Larson and even Ross Chastain this year. He has almost the same amount of top fives as Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. I think he's got 9 top fives this year and has had a lot of top 10s so far this year. And Tyler Reddick has also been better than Kyle Busch so far this year. And let's also not forget that Kyle Busch, he went over to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2008, and there were a lot of people that were extremely skeptical of Kyle Busch going over there because Kyle Busch, his few years at Hendrick Motorsports, were somewhat good, but not as good as they would end up being. And you have to remember that the 18 car, before Kyle Busch got there, that 18 car was an absolute complete disaster. That car for a few years, or really after 2003, they did not win a race until Kyle Busch came in. And like I said, a lot of people were thinking Kyle Busch was going to struggle in that 18 car. But Kyle Busch goes into the 18 car after Bobby Labonte's last 2 years disaster and J.G. Gilley's really disastrous runs in the 18 car. And Kyle Busch goes into the 18 and wins 8 races and is an outside championship threat. And you think about everything that Kyle Busch has done. He's won 2 Brickyard 400s. He's won the Coca-Cola 600 back in 2018. He's won the Southern 500 in his 18 car. He's been close to winning Daytona 500 many, many times as well by leading the most laps that anybody's ever led in the Daytona 500 that has not won the Daytona 500. I think if anybody can really take a car and really bring a performance level up for a team, I think Kyle Busch is going to be that driver. I don't think there's a lot of drivers who can get the best out of equipment. I think there's only about 4 or 5 guys in the field, in my opinion, that probably right now that can get the best out of equipment if you put them in a kind of not as good car. I think that's Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick, and probably Denny Hamlin. And there's probably a couple others, and even Ross Chastain too. And there's probably a couple other drivers that I did not mention. But I think if there's anybody that's going to get the best out of equipment is Kyle Busch. Now, do I think Kyle Busch is going to perform as he did in his best days at Joe Gibbs Racing? No, I don't think Kyle Busch is going to perform at the same level as he has at Joe Gibbs Racing before 2019. But I do think in 2023, I do think that Kyle Busch is going to have his best year before the pandemic. I think 2023, Kyle Busch is going to win around 4 to 5 races in 2023. I know that's a really, really bold prediction, but Kyle Busch, I think having that new change of scenery where he's going to have a multi-year deal, he's not going to have the pressure of basically going out there and, worrying about where he's going to be driving. He's going to probably have sponsorship and funding. We know that teams and sponsors are really, sponsorship, I should say, and sponsors have been really playing a close eye, are interested in sponsoring Kyle Busch. Looking at Hot Wheels, who's been following a lot of the RCR stuff really, really closely, who has sponsored Ridge Shows Racing in the past. And Kyle Busch will be able to still be his own driver. He also is going to be working with a crew chief who's a really good crew chief, who's also on road courses. I think Randall Burnett right now is a way better crew chief than Ben Bayshore at the moment. So I think that Randall Burnett will get the best out of equipment for Kyle Busch and really help him out, especially on the road courses. Considering the road course program for Joe Gibbs Racing has been a disaster. RCR's road course program has been very, very solid as well. And I think T will really do a good job in that A card next year. Now, transitioning to Tyler Reddick, I think Reddick's going to have a Jeremy Mayfield type of season. And if you remember 2006, Jeremy Mayfield, you kind of remember how that kind of went for Jeremy Mayfield that year, and he really struggled in 2006. I think that Reddick is going to have that same kind of performance. But Kyle Busch, unlike Keselowski as well, he's not going to be having ownership stake at Richard Childress Racing, which is very different, but some people thought maybe he would take an ownership stake in RCR. That's not a possibility. Kyle Busch had been asked about that. He said that he actually tried to have an opportunity to maybe get an ownership stake, but that opportunity was not going to be available for Kyle Busch. Overall, I think this move for Kyle Busch is a great move. And I do think, like I said, I do think Kyle Busch is going to get around 4 to 5 wins in the first year. And I think he will be a championship threat. I think he will be one of the fastest cars in 2023. I know that sounds crazy considering Richard Childress Racing has not had as much success. But like I said, I think that we're going to see Kyle Busch perform the best he's performed in many, many years, not having that pressure on his back, worrying about where he's going to be going next year, not worrying about all that crazy stuff behind the scenes. He's more than likely going to have his Truck Series team set. It's unclear what drivers will be in it. I would think probably going to for sure maybe see Chandler Smith back. I think a lot of drivers in the Chevy program, and hey, maybe some Hendrick drivers will get an opportunity. Even maybe Tyler Reddick perhaps will get an opportunity to drive a really, really fast KBM truck, especially since there's been some crazy rumors that basically from Door Bumper Clear, I think they've reported some rumblings that GMS could shut their truck series program down, though I do think GMS more than likely will be back in the truck series in 2023 in some sort of capacity next year. But that's my opinion. I think that they're going to be back. But like I said, I think Kyle Busch will perform great in 2023. I also do expect that in the long-term future for Kyle Busch, I think Kyle Busch, because he's going to be there long-term, he's going to be trying to chase Dale Earnhardt because Richard Childress even compared Kyle Busch to Dale Earnhardt. And I think he said that he's probably the best driver that he's had since Dale Earnhardt passed away when Dale Earnhardt raced for the team. And then, of course, Kevin Harvick's great, but I don't think Kevin Harvick's as good as Kyle Busch really is. I think Kevin's a great driver, but I think he's not as good as Kyle Busch has really been throughout his career. So I think that Kyle Busch is going to be a really substantial driver, and I think he'll have a similar season to what Kevin Harvick had in 2013. And not only do I think Kyle Busch is going to make his team, the A team, stronger and Rich Childress Racing stronger, I think he's going to make Austin Dillon a much stronger driver as well. Austin Dillon, who is a veteran of the series now, he's going to be able to basically lean on Kyle Busch and really kind of get a little bit of experience and really understand what Kyle Busch is going to be looking for, and he'll be able to kind of help out Kyle Busch in a long-term future as well. I think that this move overall is great. Now, also long-term, another big question that really comes up is who's going to end up in that third RCR car after Reddick's gone. I would think Austin Hill. Austin Hill is a really, really good driver. I could see Austin Hill with Kaulig Racing next year. That is a possible option considering they are aligned with Richard Childress Racing, but we really don't know at this point. I could also see Kaulig deciding to bring up their Cup guys next year. But there's going to be a lot of other silly season moves that are going to be taking place, but my expectations are Kyle Busch. He's going to win a lot of races next year. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people with the kind of performance that I'm expecting. I think he's going to perform extremely well with the team next year, and I do think Kyle Busch in 2023, I think he's going to be a very solid driver, and I think he's definitely going to be fun to watch as well next year. And, I think also with Ty Gibbs more likely replacing him in the 18 car next year, I think Ty Gibbs will also do really good. I think this is going to be a win-win for the teams. I think it's great to see that Kyle Busch has a new change of scenery, and I think he will perform at a really good level at Rich Childress Racing starting in 2023. And I think long-term future, he could win a championship. I would not be surprised if Kyle Busch does win a championship by the end of his tenure at the team. And I think he will finish his Cup Series career, which he has a long-term future set. He's probably going to be there for the next 7-8 years and probably finish his career around 2031 when Brexton could be available for Kyle and him to basically team up together to race against each other in the Truck Series and split a ride and work there. So that is going to be the special video, and it's really, I think Kyle Busch will be great. So that's going to be it for today's special video on Kyle Busch. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links are below for that, and comment your thoughts on today's video. How well do you think Kyle Busch is going to perform at Rich Childress Racing in 2023? And do you think my thoughts are crazy on how he's going to perform? Or do you think Kyle Busch will struggle at Rich Childress Racing? And do you think he's going to fail to win races, unlike other drivers who've driven for Rich Childress Racing? Let me know in the comments below. Tomorrow on my channel, of course, we're going to have the NASCAR Cup Series race review from Bristol. It's a cutoff race for the round of 16 to decide who gets into the round of 12. There's also other content on the way. There is a driver lineup predictions video that is going to be dropping on Sunday. Monday, there is going to be a NASCAR news video where we're recapping everything all the way up from Thursday all the way up to Monday. That's going to be in a special recap video. Tuesday will be race picks for, I believe, Texas, if I'm not mistaken, which, God, we're going to Texas. God help us all. But there's a lot of content on the way, and I'm really excited for sure to share for you guys what we got. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.